It's not uncommon for us to feel a sense of unease when we come in contact with objects that we don't know much about. The more we hear and the more we learn, the scarier these myths and legends become. These mythological tales have roots in our earliest civilizations, and they continue to stay relevant today. Some of these objects are still widely known around the world, while others seem to be forgotten or lost in our history. But they all have one thing in common. They all come with true stories behind them. Let's get right to it. 11. The Necronomicon. The Necronomicon, or the Book of the Dead, is a fictional book that first appeared in Lovecraft's short story, The Hound. It is said to offer power to those who would wield it. But was the author perhaps referring to something that might be real? The book itself seems to have been inspired by the Necronomicon invented by the horror writer Arthur Machen, which Lovecraft had read and discussed with other writers in 1919. As for the Necronomicon's contents, it appears to be a compendium of knowledge about the dark arts, with information on how to call up various supernatural entities for purposes of black magic, as well as having information about various mysterious places. The Necronomicon is a book of knowledge about the dark arts and spells that can be used for black magic. The book was written by Abdul al-Hazred, and it contains descriptions of entities, beings, and techniques for those interested in the dark arts. 10. The Ring of Jaijas. The Ring of Jaijas is a mythical object that belonged to King Jaijas of Lydia in the 7th century BC. After killing King Candles of Lydia, he finds it on his body. He puts it on and is able to make himself invisible at will by putting it under his robe. The ring granted its wearer the power to become invisible at will. This power allowed Jaijas to seduce the queen and murder King Candleus, the king's father-in-law, without any consequences. The power of invisibility granted by the ring emphasizes that people are usually less likely to commit crimes when they believe they will be caught. In Plato's The Republic, a character by the name of Jaijas relates a story about a magic ring that could make him invisible. 9. Pandora's Box. Pandora's Box is one of the most famous myths in Western culture. It was said that Pandora was given a box with all the ills in the world, including death and suffering. She opened it, releasing all of these things into the world, but she also released hope. Pandora's Box is an artifact in Greek mythology that carries all the evils inside the world when opened for the first time by Pandora, who was given the box as a gift from Zeus. She opened Pandora's Box because she was told not to open it. Pandora's Box is a concept that is often used to describe something with the potential to bring about great change or ills. For example, it can represent the unknown, the risks involved with discovery, or something that carries misery with it. Pandora's Box is a metaphor for anything that carries all the evils inside the world when opened. This can be a person, place, or thing. 8. The Hope Diamond. The Hope Diamond was found in India in 1668 and was originally owned by King Louis XIV. It was stolen from the Louvre Museum in Paris, France in 2017. The Hope Diamond is one of the most famous and valuable gems on Earth. It has a very interesting and dark past. The Hope Diamond was first discovered in India and was originally part of a necklace belonging to an Indian ruler. After that, the Indian ruler's family sold it to King Louis XV of France, where it was set into a crown for his mistress, who then had her head cut off by revolutionaries. The Hope Diamond is one of the world's most famous diamonds, with a history that spans almost 500 years. The diamond has passed to different owners and has been rumored to carry many mysteries and legends. 7. The Deathly Hallows. The Deathly Hallows are 3 magical items that make the wearer the master of death. First, the Elder Wand. It is an extremely powerful wand made of elder wood with the power to win duels and make its wielder unbeatable. It also requires constant wandsmanship practice to keep its magical abilities. Second, the Resurrection Stone. It allows its owner to bring back others from the dead, but it does not work for everyone. and is limited in that it can only be used once every 6 hours. Last, the Cloak of Invisibility. It shields its wearer from death by making him or her invisible, but it can only be worn for 12 hours at a time, or else they will become permanently visible. 6. The Philosopher's Stone. The Philosopher's Stone is a legendary substance which was believed to be capable of turning base metals into gold and silver and curing the wearer of any disease. The Philosopher's Stone has been a popular topic of study for many philosophers in the past. They believed that with the stone, they could be able to turn any metal into gold and produce the elixir of life. But even though it was never discovered, it still has an important historical significance. There are 3 versions of the Philosopher's Stone that are most commonly studied in alchemy: the white, red, and black stones. There are also 2 methods for preparing these stones. They can be made by way of nature or by way of art. It is an art that aims to purify, mature, and perfect certain objects. The Philosopher's Stone, also known as the Stone of the Wise or the Great Work, is a legendary substance with extraordinary powers. Does the Philosopher's Stone still exist today? 5. The Evil Mirror. The Evil Mirror is one of the most famous cursed mirrors in history. It was believed that whoever looked into the mirror would be cursed and eventually their faces would fall off. The story of this mirror begins in 1777, when a man named Louis Grote purchased the mirror from an antique dealer. The mirror was made in 1740 by a craftsman who had lost his job to someone with more knowledge and skill than him, hence the curse. Louis Grote was not aware of the curse or any stories surrounding it, so he hung it on his wall and often gazed into it admiring himself. However, one day he looked into it for too long and his face started to show signs of wear. His skin became loose around his eyes, mouth, nose, ears, neckline, and eventually fell right off. 4. The Levithan. Sea monsters have been a part of human culture for centuries, and we keep finding new legends and stories about them. They represent the dangers of the ocean, but also its mysteries. The Greek legend of the Levithan might be one of the most well-known sea monster legends. It tells the story of a huge creature that existed before God created life on Earth. It's often associated with Satan because it has been said to drag ships down into the depths and also consume souls, like Satan does in some myths. The Leviathan is an ancient symbol for evil and was used as such by several groups in Europe and Asia until it became obsolete after Christianity took over as the dominant religion in those areas. 3. The Blade of Mercy. The Blade of Mercy is a blade that was created by the elves, and only elves can create it. It was made so that it could protect the elven people from any threats. It was created during the time when mages were starting to fail at their jobs due to not being able to remove curses from themselves. It comes from a story that emphasizes the importance of life. It is important because it can either give life or take life away at any given time. This ability gives the blade power over others in this story, and it also gives the person using it power over their own life or death decision. The Blade of Ultimate Mercy is a weapon that is not meant to be solely used for death. This blade is inscribed with the words patience and purity. It was created to help bring people's souls back from the dark side or from a state of sin. This blade can only be used by a person who has been willing to give up everything in order to achieve redemption for themselves and others. 2. The Dyson Sphere. The Dyson Sphere is a fictional concept that was first introduced by Olaf Stapledon in 1937. It is an artificial structure that surrounds a star and captures most or all of its energy output. A Dyson Sphere has 2 main purposes: to provide habitats for living beings and to mine stellar material, such as solar wind, from the central star. These living beings could include humans, transhumans, posthumans, and superintelligent machines. The artificial structure can be built around any type of star, but stars with high mass will produce more usable energy than those with lower mass. The Dyson Sphere is a hypothetical megastructure or space habitat. The idea is that an extremely advanced civilization would surround a star with a shell of solar collectors, or some other form of beaming power stations, in order to intercept most or all of the star's energy output. 1. The Giants Causeway. The Giants Causeway is one of the Ireland's most visited tourist attractions. The story behind it is a haunting mystery that has never been solved, but it's known to be true. The Giants Causeway, also called the Celtic or Irish Pyramids, are an unusual set of interlocking basalt columns on the coast of Northern Ireland. They were created 60 million years ago by an ancient volcanic eruption and are one of the few places in Ireland that has not been touched by humans. This natural wonder fascinates people because they cannot understand what caused this extraordinary formation to form on Earth. Some believe it was giants, others believe it was fairies. No one knows for sure, but there is no doubt that this magical place will continue to entice visitors from around the world.